Okay, so let's unpack this. Today, we're really digging into something, well, something deeply unsettling, but incredibly important.
Yeah.
We're talking about Christopher Browning's book, Ordinary Men, Reserve Police Battalion 101, and the Final Solution in Poland.
A landmark study, really.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, it's not just, history. It's trying to get at the core of how average people, ordinary men, could become perpetrators, executioners even.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question that, well, it stays with you. How does that happen? Our mission here is to explore that, to understand the pressures, and maybe challenge some easy assumptions.
And what's so powerful right from the start is how Browning just dismantles those assumptions. You think perpetrators, you think monsters, fanatics, SS type.
The Hollywood Nazi almost.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
these guys, Reserve Police Battalion 101, they were ordinary. That's the shocking part.
And when you say ordinary, you mean really ordinary, like not soldiers trained for this.
No, not at all. That's crucial. We're talking about maybe 500 men.
Yeah.
Mostly middle-aged guys from Hamburg.
Hamburg. So city dwellers.
Yeah. Working class, lower middle class, dock workers, truck drivers, salesmen, clerks, the guy next door, potentially.
Wow.
They weren't frontline combat troops. Many were older, maybe not fit for the regular army. Their job was supposed to be, well, order, policing occupied areas.
So no special killer training, no deep Nazi party indoctrination for most of them.
Generally, no. Some were party members, sure, but many weren't driven by some burning ideology, and that lack of fanaticism makes what happened next even more disturbing.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because if it's not just blind hate or ideology, then what is it? It feels closer somehow.
It does, and that's why Browning's work is so vital. He doesn't let us off the hook with easy answers.
So, okay, the difficult part. What exactly were they ordered to do? And how did Browning figure all this out years later? It must have been incredibly hard to piece together.
It was, and it's grim. They were assigned tasks like rounding up Jewish communities in Poland for deportation to death camps, but also direct mass shootings.
Oh, wow. So face-to-face killing.
Face-to-face killing of unarmed civilians, men, women, children, the elderly. Horrific doesn't really cover it.
And Browning's method, how did he confirm this?
He was incredibly meticulous. This isn't speculation. He used extensive post-war interrogation records and trial transcripts of the men themselves.
So their own words, in many cases.
Their own testimonies, often given decades later. He cross-referenced these accounts with historical documents. Survivor testimonies were available. It's a painstaking reconstruction of events, real detective work.
Documented evidence, not just theory. That makes it undeniable in a way.
Exactly. And that detailed picture lets him analyze why. What were the psychological factors? Because it wasn't just one thing. It was a mix, a really toxic mix.
Okay, so what did he find? What were the main drivers?
Well, one of the biggest factors, maybe the most relatable in a strange way, was just conformity, peer pressure.
Just wanting to fit in.
Even with the... It sounds incredible, but yes. Many men described just doing it because everyone else was. The pressure of the group, the fear of standing out, of being seen as different or weak. It was immense.
So less about actively wanting to kill and more about not wanting to be the one who says no.
For a lot of them, yes. That seems to be a core part of it. Then there's obedience to authority. They were given orders, direct orders by superiors.
And they were police, even reservists. So trained to follow orders to some extent.
Right. There's that ingrained habit. Now, Browning makes it clear there was a possibility, usually, to step aside. The commander even offered it at the start of the first massacre.
He offered.
Explicitly offered that anyone who didn't feel up to it could step out.
And did they?
Very, very few took him up on it initially, maybe a dozen out of 500. Stepping out meant identifying yourself, separating from your comrades right at that critical moment. That took enormous courage most didn't have right then.
So the fear wasn't necessarily immediate execution for refusing, but more social ostracism, being seen as a coward.
Exactly. The social consequences, the fear of letting your buddies down, the fear of being labeled weak. Those were powerful deterrents. It's a disturbing insight into group dynamics.
It really is. What else contributed?
Desensitization. This is huge. The first time was shocking, sickening for many. They described vomiting, having nightmares.
Let's hope so.
But the second time, maybe a little less shocking, the 10th time, the 100th. Over months, the constant exposure to extreme violence, It numbed them.
It became a routine.
Became the job. The horrific became normalized. The victims became abstract numbers, tasks to be completed. That gradual erosion of empathy is terrifying.
That slow slide is chilling. Anything else in that mix?
Yeah, smaller things too. Careerism for some, not necessarily promotion, but just not wanting to get a black mark or be seen as unreliable or unpatriotic, basic loyalty to the unit, misplaced as it was.
That's like a perfect storm of psychological pressures.
It really is. And Browning's point is that these pressures, conformity, obedience, desensitization, peer loyalty, these are, well, they are ordinary human psychological mechanisms, pushed to an absolute horrific extreme here, but recognizable.
Which raises that really uncomfortable question, doesn't it? The one you mentioned earlier. How do these same pressures work on us, in everyday life, in the office, online, in our communities?
Precisely. Obviously, the stakes are vastly different, thank goodness. But think about going along with a bad idea at work because everyone else is, or staying silent when you disagree with the group consensus.
Yeah, the discomfort of being the lone voice.
That's the root, isn't it? Browning shows us the absolute worst-case scenario of where that can lead when the context involves state-sanctioned violence and dehumanization. But the basic wiring, it's disturbingly familiar.
And that leads right into what feels like Browning's main argument, the demolition of the monsters myth.
Absolutely. That's the core takeaway for many people. It's comforting to think that people who do such things are fundamentally different from us. Evil aberrations. Monsters.
It creates distance, safety. That could never be me.
Exactly. But Browning says, no. Look closer. These were ordinary men. And if they could do this under these circumstances, it forces us to confront the potential within ordinary human nature, including our own.
That is terrifying, because the implication is this isn't just a German thing or a Nazi thing or a 1940s thing. It's a human potentiality thing.
Under the right, or rather, the terribly wrong circumstances, it means vigilance is required, always. It means understanding these dynamics is crucial.
So what does this mean for you, listening right now? It means facing that uncomfortable truth. The line between us and them isn't as solid as we'd like to believe.
It's a profound ethical challenge. If these men were ordinary, then their choices, their failures, reflect something about the human condition. It forces that question, what would I have done?
A question with no easy answer.
None at all. And maybe the point isn't to definitively answer it, but to grapple with it, to recognize the fragility of morality when those pressures mount. It's about understanding our own capacity, both for good and potentially for complicity.
But, and you mentioned this briefly, it wasn't completely hopeless. There were glimmers of refusal, right?
Yes, and this is absolutely vital. It often gets lost in the horror, but Browning highlights it. A small number of men did refuse.
How? What happened to them?
Crucially, they generally weren't shot or imprisoned. Often they quietly asked for different duties.
Wow.
Guarding supplies, driving trucks, anything other than direct killing.
And the commanders allowed this?
Often, yes. Maybe with some grumbling, maybe they were seen as weak, but they weren't typically severely punished for refusing the killing tasks themselves.
That's huge. It means resistance was possible. There was a choice.
It proves the point. It wasn't always a choice between kill or be killed. It was often a choice between kill or face social discomfort, awkwardness, maybe some minor repercussions. The pressure was immense, but not always absolute coercion.
So those few who refused, they show that moral courage, even quiet moral courage, could exist even there.
Exactly. It shows that individual agency wasn't completely erased. It took immense strength, real conviction to stand against that tide of conformity and obedience, but it was possible.
That's incredibly important to remember.
It is. It means the book, while deeply sobering, isn't just a story of inevitable dissent. It's also a testament to the possibility of moral choice, even in the darkest of times. It underscores the power and the difficulty of individual conscience.
So as we wrap this up, the message from Ordinary Men isn't just about a specific battalion in Poland during World War II. It's much broader.
Much broader. It's a warning.
A warning that
What?
the path to atrocity doesn't start with monsters.
Right. It starts with ordinary people dehumanizing others. It starts with ordinary people choosing not to question, choosing to obey, choosing to conform. When we stop seeing the humanity in others, when we blindly follow orders or go along with the group, that's where the danger begins.
So this deep dive, hopefully, serves as a reminder for you, for all of us, to stay aware, to question, to notice those pressures in our own lives, however small they seem compared to this.
Yes. Ordinary Men doesn't offer easy answers or let you look away. It forces you to confront uncomfortable truths about history, about human nature, and ultimately about yourself.
A final thought to leave people with.
Maybe just this. Consider the small ways in your own life that pressure to conform or obey operates. When do you stay silent? When do you question? What are the consequences, maybe unseen, of just going along? Understanding the dynamics Browning reveals isn't just about the past, it's about navigating the present more consciously.
A powerful and necessary reflection.
And if this discussion has intrigued you, I really do recommend Christopher Browning's Ordinary Men. It's essential reading, tough, but essential. It will definitely stay with you.